Hi everyone, today Adriana and I will be interviewing a scientist. Isn't that so cool? Let's go meet her.
My name is Nina Morrison. I went to school at Santa Clara University, which is up north in San Jose. I majored in bioengineering and I did my minor in mechanical engineering.
What kind of a scientist are you? How would you define yourself as a scientist?
I'm an engineer by training. So right now my job is an R&D manager in cosmetics. So I'm making sure that all our launches are happening on time. I work with chemists who develop new formulas. And anytime you see new shades that are launching in cosmetics, there are engineers and scientists who are working on making those happen. So that's my job right now. It's really fun. I get to play around with cosmetics, and I also get to work with a lot of technical chemists and engineers to make sure these launches are happening. So it's a super fun job.
Where specifically are you working right now?
So right now I work at Seed Beauty, which is a company that manufactures cosmetics, and they manufacture packages that cosmetics go into. So I've been working at the company for about 3 years. One of the brands that is under Seed Beauty is ColourPop Cosmetics. It's an online brand where we sell all different types of eyeshadow, all different types of color cosmetics.
What type of projects are you working on right now?
So I work on all different types of cosmetic formulations. So you guys have probably seen, I was showing the powder palette. So I work on making different types of powders that are developed in cosmetics, different types of lipsticks. So I basically am working on all different types of color projects. So I'm working with chemists who are developing new types of formulas, and then also with color technicians who are basically making new colors that you'll see in cosmetic products. I also work with engineers and packaging designers. So within cosmetics, I think a lot of time we only think about the product itself, but there's actually a lot of engineers and scientists that go into making the actual package that the product goes in. So I also have to make sure that the package and the formula work together well, and that there's no issues when one goes with the other, so that when the consumer gets the product, everything's intact, everything works well. So that's the type of projects I'm working on. So it's a good reminder that whenever you get products from the store, there's chemists who are making those things if they're personal products, but also when you open a package, there's engineers and scientists who have been working on making those packages work for you and work at a low cost so that you're able to keep low prices for your cosmetics. Those are the types of projects I'm working on. It's never a dull moment. And I get to try a lot of the products, which is probably the best part.
What is the most rewarding part of your job?
When I was in high school and college, I used to get really upset when things wouldn't go right. I would kind of get really hard on myself when I would face a problem for the first time. But now that I've been in college and now that I've been working in the field in my job, my favorite part and most rewarding part is sometimes when things don't go right the first time, and then we're able to come together as a team to make things work. So for me, when initially we thought, oh man, this launch isn't going to happen, or we're not going to be able to make this really cool palette with all these different shades and finishes, I love when immediately we think, okay, that's not going to work. Having a bunch of team members come together and then think of new ideas and problem solve. For me, that's been the best thing, because I used to have a lot of confidence issues with, oh man, when things don't go right the first time, something's wrong. But actually, that's the most fun and exciting part. And that's when the most innovation happens. That's when the most growth happens. So for me, that's the most rewarding part, is when you're able to come up with new ideas and new solutions. And lucky for me, that happens a lot. We're able to innovate a lot. We're able to come up with new solutions. So that's probably the most rewarding part.
Why did you first get interested in this field?
Yeah, so I first got interested because of YouTube, actually. I was so obsessed with beauty influencers. I was watching YouTube all the time, and I started working actually in medical device internships. I did some internships when I was in college, which was great, but I didn't really love what I was doing. I wasn't so excited about medical devices. It's an awesome field, but it just wasn't kind of my thing. So I started watching YouTube and then realized, oh, hey, they probably need engineers and chemists and different types of scientists and technical people to make those products. And turns out they do. So I started interviewing for those type of roles and started working in the field. So I think that's a good thing I like to remind people, is that there's lots of different career paths, and there's lots of different career paths for technical people. You don't have to go into coding or anything like like that. If you're not interested in those kind of things, you can still have a STEM background and have a degree in something that's STEM and go off into lots of different types of fields. So for me, that was great because it meant I could work in cosmetics. I could work with a lot of women because cosmetics is a super female dominated field. So that's been the best thing for me. And yeah, I always love telling people just watching YouTube videos was how I found out about how my love for cosmetics. So that's how I found out about it.
What challenges did you face or have you faced?
And I think all of us face our own challenges, whatever we're working on. But for me, I've been extremely, extremely lucky because I haven't faced a ton of challenges like I have other female peers who have, women of color in this field. There's so many different things that other people have faced that are much bigger than my challenges. But I have faced a bit of pushback when I was in college and engineering school. There's a few people and some of my peers were like, oh, cosmetics, like, why do you want to go into that? So I did face some pushback there. But for everyone who said like, oh, that's not a good idea, there was like 3 people saying, oh, that's a great idea, you should do it. So my biggest challenge was basically kind of just the haters. I know that's kind of funny to say, but the people who just didn't think that this field was worthwhile for someone who has an engineering degree, and it definitely is. And there's definitely a ton of people in personal care and food science and all that who are really amazing scientists and really amazing innovators. So I'm really, really glad I didn't listen to those people and then went with what I loved.
When all those people were telling you that this was not the field that you should go into, how did you react and how did you overcome that? Because that's got to be really difficult to hear that, oh, like, why would you want to do that when it's something that you had become really passionate about?
Basically, I stuck to my heart, like what I believe was like, this is something I want to do. And I also said to myself, like, I can try it. And if they're right and it's not a good field, then I can always change. There's always opportunity. I think sometimes when we're in high school, we're kind of told, this is the track you're going to be on. You have to go to this college or you have to do this. Or even if you don't go to college, like there's so many kind of tracks we get set on so early on, especially as women. I told myself when I kind of faced those people who were like, no, that's not a good idea. Hey, I'm going to try it. And then I have power and control over my life. So I can change. So I guess the short answer to your question is I just listened to myself and I had confidence in myself that I could do it. And then if it didn't work, I could try something else. So that's how I kind of had that inner monologue.
Who has been your biggest role model or mentor?
So my biggest role model, well, always my mom, I say, is my biggest role model because she's always encouraged me. So she's amazing. And I've had a lot of friends who have been role models as well. But I do like to tell people, and I tell myself often, that we have to be our own role models. No one knows you like you know yourself. I think a lot of times we look for mentors to tell us what to do. Like if you're in college, oh, what should I study? Or for me, it's like, what should my next move be? What should I do? And no one really is ever going to know you like you. And no one knows your interests and your talents like you. I think a lot of people can have really good intentions to help you, but you owe yourself to be your own role model, your own mentor. So I like to remind people of that because someone told me that about like 5 years ago, and I really just took it to heart because it's so true. Like there's so many great people who can help you and give you inspiration, but I think you have to trust yourself that you're your best mentor in your life because no one knows you like you know yourself. So that's what I like to remember.
What other advice would you give to people who want to become scientists?
My advice for young women and girls who want to become scientists is just to follow your interests, to be really curious. Because for me, that led to it. If I was never curious about this field of cosmetics and makeup, I never would have kind of pursued it. So just be curious, be interested, take classes that you enjoy, work on projects that you enjoy. I think that's the biggest thing is follow your interests. And those always lead you on the right path if you kind of trust yourself and know what you're interested in, and also open yourself up to opportunities to try different things. That would be my biggest advice.
Thank you so much, Nina, for telling us about what you do and for sharing such good advice. I love the points you made about being your own role model and exploring different interests in order to figure out what's right for you. Here at Boundless Brilliance, we believe that everyone is capable of doing amazing things. Hopefully this interview gave you an insight into another possible path. Thanks so much for watching, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe for new videos every Sunday.